Hi, welcome back. I'm Melissa Summers. We are broadcasting live with Mission TV, a special edition, and we're here for the 59th session of the General Conference. And as I've told you time and time again, there's so much going on here. The biggest thing that's going on, of course, is that Jesus is coming soon, and we have a great commission. And different ministries from around the world have different ways of doing this gospel. And with me right now, I have Al Parks with Be in Good Health.
Be in Good Health.
Okay. All right, Mr. Parks, tell me, how are you using your ministry to spread the gospel?
Well, first of all, Be in Good Health is designed mainly to do just that. Even though you hear the name health, health is just a means by which to enter in with the gospel message. I'm a certified lifestyle educator and certified personal fitness chef. My wife...
Wait, personal fitness chef?
Personal fitness chef.
Okay.
Not as fancy as those who work in the restaurants and have the fancy handwork.
Okay.
But yet at the same time, I think to a higher calling, because food is not just to taste good, but it is also to be utilized to promote healing in the body, and that's a point that's missed oftentimes. So as a certified lifestyle educator and personal fitness chef, my goal is to help people physically. But I didn't tell you about my wife. My wife's a licensed psychologist. She deals with mental health, not just in the traditional way that we think of mental health, where you do the talk therapy and so on and so forth, but utilizing what we call the laws of health. People don't realize that you can provide mental healing, like for things such as depression, through lifestyle, through the foods that we eat. So we know that we can achieve that through food for healing for physical health.
Okay, so you don't just I wish your wife was here. Wow.
I do too.
Okay, so you don't just cook, in other words. Do you do consultations? You teach people?
We teach people about lifestyle and diseases, from diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, obesity, to depression, ADHD, ADD, and so forth. So right there you see the physical health and the mental health, and there's a close connection between the two.
So the mind and the body.
Exactly.
And what about the spiritual?
The spiritual is the foundational piece.
And mercy.
As James chapter 5 verse 16 says, and this is a good key right here, confess your faults one to another that ye may be healed. We often don't see that piece.
Okay. Now, am I hearing you say that I may be doing all of my 8 laws of health or God's plan, and I'm still sick? It could be I'm holding something I'm hating.
That's exactly what you're hearing. As a matter of fact, we did a consultation with someone here in the States, and they convinced us, and I believe them. They were following all the physical things that we taught them.
Okay.
But as we continued to press, we found out there was aught in their heart for another church member. Once they got that out, confessed it to the Lord, repented of it, they were dealing with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. Guess what? The blood sugars numbers started to come down. The blood pressure came down. And this was within 1 week.
Only because they were holding, let's say, they're not holding anything, against someone, but their diet. What would you tell someone, let's say, with hypertension?
Hypertension, very easy. I first want to know what type of foods they're eating. If they're eating hot peppers, first of all, that's one of the main things that can elevate a person's blood pressure.
Now, we have a lot of island viewers.
We do.
Are you serious?
A lot of hot peppers will elevate the blood pressure. Research just came out about 2 months ago. The sodas that we drink, the high fructose corn syrup, produces a waste product called uric acid. When uric acid is high in the body, that will elevate the blood pressure.
Okay, so what would the protocol be that you would suggest to someone?
Simply put, to lower the blood pressure, first of all, meat is also a stimulant. It has stimulating properties that will elevate the blood pressure. I would want them to take out all flesh out of their diet. You often start with a person's diet because if nothing else, everyone's going to eat. After we finish with the diet, I want them to introduce, if they take out the meat, they got to get their protein, so introduce nuts. Walnuts, Brazil nuts, any kind of nuts for the most part.
Now what does
that would
that
be good. The nuts contain, especially your walnuts, they contain something called L-arginine, fancy word, but all it does is stimulates the body to produce something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide causes the blood vessels to relax. So when the heart pumps, the blood vessels can dilate or relax and open up and not stiffen so the blood can flow freely.
Okay.
Beans do the exact same thing, contain the same item, nitric oxide. So beans could be found almost anywhere in the world. So that would help them right there. Exercise. Exercise also stimulates the arteries to produce nitric oxide.
Now, what would you suggest for the arteries that are closing, that are clogged?
Eating more foods high in omega-3.
So you can reverse that?
You can reverse that, of course,
Okay.
yes.
Now go ahead.
And eating more items high in omega-3, eating more items high also like your fruits and your vegetables high in antioxidants. Because what the omega-3 actually does in a process, it starts to kind of help to break down some of this plaque that's in the arteries.
So it literally, I mean, you don't have to wait till you have to have a triple bypass.
No, as a matter of fact, if you wait to that point, it could be too late. Yeah, you know, most of the time when there's a triple bypass necessary to be done, some people don't realize it until that artery finally closes off, and now they have to rush and either get them to the hospital or give them aspirin to help try and loosen up the blood itself just to get it to flow much better. The foods that I'm sharing with you causes the blood to flow freely.
Now, how do you see this, again, as a global mission? You know, some people think it's in the, the mission field going, and, I mean, how do you relate that as the Great Commission?
As the Great Commission, we've been told to go into all the world and preach the gospel.
Right.
Well, sometimes when people are so sick, they may want to hear the gospel, but lifestyle and diet is confusing the mind so much.
The mind and the body.
Exactly. That they can hear spiritual things, but they cannot perceive and understand what they mean. Once the mind becomes clear, then we can hear and understand what God is trying to speak and say to us. Even sometimes in our sincerity, if there are things that we're not doing, the Lord is still trying to reach us, and He will, but He can reach us even more so when we're healed and when we're healthy. Remember when Jesus went, oftentimes He didn't say, son, and I don't know if they had diabetes then, I think they do, the record shows it, your diabetes is healed. He said, thy sins be forgiven thee, rise up and walk. So there's a combination there. When we are taken care of spiritually, the physical will tend to follow.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parks.
Thanks for having me.
Let's be in good health. And listen, we've got much more coming. You know what? The mind, the body, and the spirit are all one. And God would have us to prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers. Come back, we've got much more with Mission TV, a special edition live.